Greetings everyone, this is Jed Shlackman. For this video I'll talk about the topic of archetypes, and for this segment I'm focusing on feminine archetypes, so female roles or qualities, and specifically the roles or archetypes of daughter, wife or partner, and mother. These are all roles that are kind of universal. So anyone who is here on Earth having a human life experience as a female will be a daughter. So you're a daughter playing that role, and you have parents, so you're a daughter to your parents, and there is that relationship and how you are processing or navigating that relationship. Then as you reach another stage in life, you may become someone's partner or wife, and in that intimate relationship there are other issues that you're going to be processing and navigating. And you may give birth to a child, or you may adopt a child. In either case, you're playing the mother role. Of course, those roles are not necessarily confined to our conventional or traditional view of how you play out that particular role or relationship. So someone could be in a partnership that's not necessarily a traditional romantic one, but you're still, in a sense, someone's partner. So you're being a wife, not always in that sexual or romantic sense. It could be some other form of partnership. And also as a mother, mothers are nurturing, they're giving birth to children, but it doesn't have to be an actual human child that you're playing the mother to. So you could be mothering pets, cats, dogs, etc. You could be mothering students if you're a school teacher, a nurse, a nanny, etc. So it's not always the traditional literal view of that particular role. It's more of an archetypal role, which is why I'm speaking in the context of archetypes, because that particular theme isn't exactly the same in everyone's life. Not everyone expresses or plays out that theme in the exact same way, but the themes are fairly universal. So if you look at your own life, you may see that theme present, even if it's not in the conventional form. The topic of these feminine roles and archetypes was kind of in my awareness or consciousness recently, as a client came to me who's dealing with issues that actually relate to all three of those particular archetypes, experiencing some form of shift or change or grief or loss in the context of all those roles. So someone whose mother had passed on several years back, so their role as a daughter, of course, shifted. And then there was a shift in their marital relationship, where the intimate part of that marriage or partnership kind of dissolved or broke up, even though the person was still together with their partner, still parenting the children. And then the next phase of change or shifting, or in a sense experiencing some form of loss, was when those children became teenagers and were ready to go off to college to become more independent adults. So that role of mother then encounters a shift or potential change where you're not able to be as fully immersed in that role as you might have been accustomed to during the period where you were raising your children. So inevitably, as we go through life, how we're experiencing these particular roles and archetypes is going to evolve, and one particular archetype may take precedence or prominence in one phase of our life, but we might in some sense be releasing that role or letting go of it in some sense or some degree as things in our life evolve and change. So we're not confined to being just the daughter, just the mother, just the wife. That's one aspect of how we're experiencing ourselves in this life experience, but it's not the totality of our identity. So I would invite each of you who are viewing this video to consider different roles or archetypes that you're processing or going through in your life. If you're a woman, it could be these feminine archetypes. If you're a man, it could be masculine archetypes. Women can also be dealing with masculine archetypes, and men could also be dealing with feminine archetypes. So just because you're a particular physical gender doesn't mean that on the spiritual and archetypal level you're not dealing with roles or energies related to the other gender. As spiritual beings, we all can tap into and access both. And of course you'll find there are people who seem to be very androgynous. They seem to be a kind of a blend, a balance of feminine and masculine, whether physically they're a man or a woman. So in terms of healing work, we can look at where we might be experiencing some form of challenge in relation to a particular role. It might be that we feel we're not that successful or that skilled or accomplished in a particular role. So we may be kind of self-conscious or insecure about how we're functioning or performing in a particular role. Using the example of a daughter, if you're a daughter and your parents aren't really that supportive of you, if they're not giving you enough validation, enough praise or positive feedback, you might feel insecure about how you're doing in a sense as a daughter. So you might take on this subconscious belief or sense that you're not a good daughter, that you're in some way inadequate or insufficient in that role. Of course, that happens very much with the wife role. There are many women who feel that they're not being a good enough wife, not being nurturing or supporting enough for their husband. And in the mothering role, of course, there are people who feel insecure about how they're doing as a parent. Of course, that occurs with fathers as well, where they're not feeling that confident or secure about how they're raising their children. They're afraid they've done something wrong or in some way harmed or traumatized their child. So these are things that we can all reflect on. We can see where we're carrying those insecurities, those feelings of inadequacy or insufficiency, and work on finding some more peace about those things, some greater self-acceptance. It's fine to really assess how you are doing in these particular roles with the intention of self-improvement, of seeking to become a better, more balanced person and so on, but at the same time to not carry a sense of self-judgment or self-condemnation, not to be overly critical of yourself where you're carrying that feeling of low self-worth or insecurity. So it's beneficial in a way to review how you're doing, to seek to improve, but for your psychological well-being, you don't want to be overly focused on self-criticism, on looking for flaws or faults or reasons to tell yourself that you're not good. So that's something I encourage each of us to consider, to work toward self-improvement, but also not to carry guilt or shame or that sense of inadequacy, to accept that we can't be perfect. We're not going to always do what we think is the best thing in these particular roles, but we go through life and continue to learn, to refine ourselves, to gain more experience. With anything, the more experience you have, the more you're able to master that particular role or skill. And we all have to start out inexperienced, and over time we build that experience and we improve, we get better in a sense in whatever role we're performing. I appreciate each of you for taking your time to view these videos and to explore topics related to personal growth, to holistic health, to your well-being. For those that are interested in particular events or healing services and sessions, you're welcome to visit my website, which is phinsights.com. That's phinsights.com. For now, I wish each of you a wonderful day. Namaste.